This is your boy Lord Thaddeus Craig. What I'm going to be doing is not involving cryptids this time, or ghosts, or anything along those lines. I plan on doing one about Bogarts next, but I figured this one might be interesting, to say the least. It's going to be about plants. And what I mean by plants is their impact not just in the paranormal or the occult, but also in society in general. Plants themselves are wondrous things. Of course, you have vegetables, you have things that are, farmed, everything from wheat to tomatoes to potatoes, spinach, good stuff, which I enjoy eating on a regular basis. Make no mistake, I mean, they're much better in this world than some good cooked cabbage and beef stew, man. Let me tell you, I've had some recently. That's some good stuff. However, throughout history, there have been other types of plants that have been used not just in, getting nourishment or food, but for medicinal purposes, as like I said, also occult. Excuse me. Are such things a wise idea? If you ask me, hell to the no. I'll tell you right now, toxins, chemicals, and things like that have a very powerful effect on the human mind and the body, but not just that. Such chemicals affect the soul. You have to understand something. We are literally spirits that are inhabiting a flesh suit. Don't ever forget that. And those who listen to me are very aware of the things I talk about. This in itself should explain, to anyone the dangers of such things if not used properly. There are many plants, not just ayahuasca or anything like that, but I also have had, mushrooms and different things being used supposedly to help people on maybe a vision quest or a spiritual journey. And of course, here's the danger of that. You leave yourself unprotected, and you're also cavorting with things you should have no business cavorting with. And again, this right here kind of goes back to that Light in the Darkness video I did not too long ago about research. My point is, don't do this shit. Even if you know what you're doing, there's a chance that it can cause some very irreversible problems. And it's not just that. Plants have not just been used for these kind of things. They also have very powerful medicinal purposes. Think about this. What is one of the most powerful things that saved countless lives from infections and very bad stuff happening to them? Death, of course, being one of the side effects of such things. Penicillin. That, of course, is more of a bear with me. It's more of a bacteria, but it's along those same lines as something that is in the plant family. They're in the same kind of umbrella, if I remember right. It's something to think about. Such a powerful thing, which of course is toxic and will kill you, is also very good for fighting infection, and it saves so many lives. See, there's two different sides to that coin, if you get my drift. So therefore, plants nourish your body. If you're stupid and foolish, they can send you on a very bad spiritual trip, which I have no desire to go on. You go right ahead if you want. And also, these plants can definitely save your life. It's something to think about. To me, it's fascinating, such things. Of course, plants have also been used in the art of assassination for as long as mankind's been around. And that in itself is ingenious and terrifying. Think about it. You have things all the way from, I think it's strychnine, to other types of things. Of course, you have other poisons, but many of these are very plant-based, like the venom from plants, nightshade, for example, wolfsbane, monkshood, all that good crap. It's scary stuff, make no mistake. And believe me, this stuff is, at the very ugly end of assassin's blade, ended a lot of lives. Hell, it's still used today in the art of assassination and espionage, these things. That in itself should really, really make you pay attention to the power in which the Creator has given into the power of what He's created, at least in the plant kingdom. Also, here's something to think about. Back in the medieval times, If you were a rich noble or whatever, or someone who had money, there was a good chance you'd think, a person might have access to better medical care, like, today, of course, which is definitely a sad truth, but it's how it is. You'd think that, right? Not necessarily. What was one of the biggest, oh God, this is horrible. What was one of the most, quote unquote, successful or important types of cures back in the day? Leeches. And of course, that ain't a plant, that's a parasite that drinks your blood. And of course, it was believed to be used to get the poison out of your blood. And of course, most likely you would just die of you would just basically die of exsanguination. I mean, I'm sorry, just human stupidity and ignorance knows no bounds. But you also have to understand, people didn't know what they know now in a lot of cases. But here's the irony of it. A lot of times, maybe some villagers or people who were, of a lower status, they didn't, of course, they may have had access to plants, which may have, of the royals would be like, hell no. But those plants, ironically, may have had medicinal purposes, which actually saved a person's life. How's that for irony, right? It's just something which is very fascinating to me. How such things really touch lives and can actually change your situation for the better or for the worse. Even now, I mean, there is... Think about this. Cannabis, Mary Jane, marijuana. A lot of times people say there's different attributes of marijuana that, of course, can be considered for healing. Of course, it's not just all to get high. I think it's THC that is the part that gives you the high. But there are other qualities that it has, like CBD. I mean, hell, there's a shop right within walking distance where I live. It sells all kinds of stuff like that, everything from CBD oil to CBD candies. And a lot of people I've talked to have said, you know what? This stuff actually works for chronic pain. That in itself is something that, I'm just saying, it's something that is really very intriguing. Something else to think about. The drug, there's a lot of drugs which come from plants. Cocaine, heroin, all that kind of god-awful stuff. You have to understand something. Many of that stuff had medicinal intent originally, and sometimes it can still be used for that, mainly for the killing of pain. Of course, the addictive quality is definitely far outweigh anything good in many cases, and it ruins lives. But on the other end, it's something to think about. Morphine, if I remember right, is a derivative of the poppy plant as well. That is something which, to me, is fascinating, just how much knowledge that we have learned from the plant. There are, of course, different types of barks. What do you think? I think it's boiling from birch trees that aspirin was found. That's something else, of course, and believe me, if you have a toothache or something like that, or a minor ache or whatever, sometimes it's serious pain, aspirin helps, let me tell you. I'm just saying, it's really interesting just how much good and bad can come from plants. The Lord bestowed us a very powerful element when it came to, finding out different things when it comes to nature's kingdom of plants. I just wanted to put that out there. I figured this was very fascinating, and I just really, really wanted to put into perspective just the broad, not just paranormal, but everyday practical uses for such things in life. It's something to really think about. As I said before, though, plants, when it comes to the paranormal side, are very well known for altering the chemicals of the body and separating the veil from the physical and the ethereal. And that in itself, it should basically give you new respect on certain things, if you get my drift. I, of course, say use these things with caution or avoid completely if I were you, but that's me. Ain't no way in hell I'm going to do any of that foolishness. I'm sorry, that's just what I consider. But it's just something that I figured was very fascinating. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Let you guys know what you think. And as I said before, the next one is going to be about the Bogart. You guys be blessed and you be safe.